Pelvic stability is incredibly important for runners. We want to make sure that we can steer the parts in the middle of the body straight, just like a car, the headlights pointing straight forward on the road. If the pelvis wobbles right to left, front to back, top to bottom when we're running, that can show up in strain, pain, injury, down the chain in the hips, the knees, the feet, the ankles, then up the chain in the low back, the shoulders, and the neck. When I don't have a lot of time after a run, but I know I need to do some good cross training, I go to these tried and true top 5 pelvic stability moves so that pelvic stability is always at the top of my runner to-do list. The first one is good old-fashioned cat-cow. I'll come onto my hands and knees, setting up my hands at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock on the face of an old-fashioned analog clock. My toes are untucked, my knees are under my hips. As I exhale, I dome my spine like a rainbow up to the sky, letting my shoulders stay over my wrists and my hips stay over my knees. And as I inhale, the top of my ears and the bottom of my sitting bones move away from each other for what we call cow pose. And I exhale back into cat, pushing the tops of the feet, the knees, and the floor away from my spine. And as I inhale, I move the crown of the head and the sitting bones towards the ceiling above me. And continue to sync your breath and your movement as we move through our cats and cows, paying particular attention to pressing your hands down into the floor, the tops of the feet down into the floor. And cat-cow is wonderful for pelvic stability because as we move into the cat shape and then transition to the cow shape, we're letting our pelvis move freely of our spine and of our legs, which is a really great and important cornerstone of pelvic stability, that your pelvis has freedom from your legs and from your spine. We'll do one more cow position and one more cat position. And as we get that mobility through the hips and the spine in cat-cow, we'll now build on that for our second move, which goes to core strength, finding the deep transverse abdominis muscle firing. This is a mystery muscle for so many runners, so many people. So we put that block on our low back. If you don't have a block, use a shoe. Reset your hands in position like you had them in cat-cow. Tuck your toes. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, imagine this TheraBand is your birthday candle. And you're going to blow out all the candles on your birthday cake. And notice how my block stayed nice and stable on my back. Now the next time we do that, we'll take a deep breath in, tuck our toes. Exhale, blow out that birthday candle. And lift the knees up off the ground. Notice how my block is my GPS here and lets me know that my pelvis and my ribs are nice and stable as I hold in my core pickup. And then I release to the ground. I take a deep breath in. And once again, I exhale, blowing out the birthday candles on that blue TheraBand in front of me. My deep transverse is engaging. So as I do the core strength here, I don't have to think about engaging my core when I am running. And this helps to hold the pelvis in place with my ribs. Let's do one more. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, lifting those knees off the ground. Taking this pickup move into our third move, which is good old-fashioned opposite arm, opposite leg balance. I'll move the block off my back to see if my brain can pick up where my core is in space without an object on my back. As I inhale, I reach the right arm forward and the left leg back. I'm choosing to tuck my right toes. You can untuck them for more of a balance challenge. And once I'm here, I'm buttoning my elbow and my knee straight. And static balances are wonderful for runners because running is a one-legged sport and we want to continue to feed the brain information where my pelvis is in space when one arm is forward and one leg is back behind me, like we do when we run. And then I'll release that and change sides. Big exhale so my core is engaged. Left arm forward, right leg back. Wobbling is completely normal here because you're breathing, and when you're breathing, you're moving. And we want to have the brain understand new body positioning, so go with the wobbling. If you wobble, it's okay. It's a good thing. It means you get to learn new stuff. And then I'll release my left hand, I'll release my right knee. I'm gonna do one more opposite arm, opposite leg balance, and this time I'm adding the block to the back to challenge myself to keep my core engaged. So take a deep breath in, and then exhale towards that blue TheraBand. Once again, right arm forward, left leg back. I'll untuck my toes on the right side for more of a balance challenge, and then that block on my back helps me figure out how I can connect my right arm to my left leg, finding good hip extension on that right side. Release and change sides. Take a deep breath in and exhale once again towards that blue TheraBand, taking the left arm forward, the right leg back, untucking the left toes for a balance challenge, and then continuing to connect with that block on my low back, figuring out how my core stays engaged with the left arm forward and the right leg back. Right, and as we come out of our third move, we'll take this block, move it off to the side, and swap it in for this blue TheraBand, which I'll take around my feet. These last two moves are wonderful to find hip extension of the back leg when you run, and some of our good running stabilizer muscles, these side hip muscles. I call them the insurance policy muscles for runners. So here we are, finishing up on all fours, move number 4. I'll take my right leg back behind me, my left toes are tucked. I am pushing into that band behind me, and as I push into that band behind me, I'm going to imagine I have that block on my low back again, and if you want a challenge, you can put that block there. And then I inhale, let the right knee come under my right hip, hover, and then exhale, push my right heel into the TheraBand, keeping my right leg moving to the right. I'm going to continue with 5 more of these, focusing on connecting my feet to my hips here. Use an appropriate TheraBand density so that the band is challenging you, but making sure there's no collapse in your low back. All right, and let's do one more. And then once you've done that one, let's release, shift your weight to your right hand, right hip, and then that left hand gets a little bit of weight too, right? Big exhale, kicking that left leg back behind you. And then we inhale, bring the left knee under the left hip, and that's 1. And as we continue through these, the exhale keeps that deep core engaged. Challenge yourself by keeping your gaze forward when we're running, and we lose focus. Sometimes our eyes can dart all over the place. And so it's a good opportunity to focus on what your body's doing. You can't see it, you have to feel it, keeping the eyes out of the picture at this moment. Right, and then let's do our last one, kicking that left leg back, and then this time we bring the knee down to the ground. Our last one, and you can change TheraBands here if you want, is the open book position. This is one of our favorite poses ever at Mala Yoga, as we call it a bang for the buck pose. You get a lot of opportunity to feel different muscles working and stabilizing your pelvis. So we start once again, right leg back behind us in hip extension. Lift the right toes off the ground. And then I take the pose I just did, the kick back, and I build on it by bringing the right leg to the sky and opening up this right hip towards the camera. And then I drop the right hip so it's in line with the left hip. And I'm going to keep going in these open book positions. It's important to keep tension on the TheraBand so that the gluteus medius muscle, one of your main hip stabilizers, continues to engage on your right side, and it's also engaging on your left side because the left hip is drawn underneath your body here. And that's our 5th one. We'll release that right knee down to the ground. Shift your body weight to your right hip. Toes are tucked. Press your hands into the ground. Big exhale. Send that left leg back behind you. Gaze is focused. And now the pelvis is moving around the fixed point of the right leg. And this is important for pelvic stability because the pelvis stays stable when we run, but we want to make sure that we can move the pelvis in other parts of the body. Otherwise it gets stiff and doesn't have any freedom of movement. So it's nice to flip the equation of running on its head, keeping your limbs fixed and moving your trunk. And that is our last one. Let's release those knees to the ground. Slip the TheraBand off. And then take those knees nice and wide and end in a child's pose with your head below your heart or your head grounded on a block with passive arms, letting the tops of the feet press to the ground and the breath open up the big window panes of your back ribs. Breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And as you roll up to sit, right, that's a great, quick way to continue to focus on pelvic stability when you're short on time. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Steph from Mala Yoga Run Core. Drop a comment, let me know how you like it, and have a great day.